Halfway between California and Hawaii lies a churning vortex of soda bottles, fishing gear, Game Boys, cheap clothes, and all forms of artificial garbage. It's like a snow globe of plastic flakes and sun-bleached shards so insanely massive that crossing it by ship takes 2 straight weeks. Over 2,000 billion bits of trash grind each other to dust as humanity discards an endless stream of plastic doohickeys. As somebody who makes an endless stream of plastic doohickeys, I strongly believe somebody else should do something about this. That's why Mark Rober and Mr. Beast launched #TeamSeas, a fun drive to hire a bunch of boats to scoop up 50 years of seaborne crapola and drag it back to shore for a proper burial. In this cyborg's opinion, a problem prevented is better than solved, so I have selected 6 obscure materials that will redirect plastic away from the ocean and into your next project. Ladies, gentlemen, cyborgs, let's signal some virtue, sequester some carbon, and save some goddamn dolphins. Welcome to Voidstar Lab. Many of you may be new to 3D printing, so here's a 1-minute primer before we dive in. A 3D printer builds solid objects one thin layer at a time. It draws a cross-section, it fuses it with the layer below, it raises the head a little, and so on until the job is done. This is the most common type of hobbyist printer, fused filament fabrication. The raw material is a spool of thin plastic string, and a drive gear sends the filament into a heated nozzle. A motorized frame drags it around, and it draws your project out as one continuous line of molten plastic from the bottom up. There are over 100 different printable polymers to pick between. I've been on a quest to try every single one of them, and in the spirit of fighting a trash droid belt 3 times bigger than the entire France, I feel like showing you a few filaments friendly to our fishy friends. The most common printable plastic is polylactic acid, a biopolymer that is already fairly sustainable, but PolyMaker greened up their whole production process to kind of a ridiculous extent without sacrificing printability or price. PolyTerra is easy to use, it's made of 100% plant bioplastics, it ships on a recycled cardboard reel, and they plant a tree wherever a spool is sold, nearly 80,000 to date. PolyTerra has a matte finish that's really forgiving of defects introduced by sloppy printing. It doesn't stick to its supports, making it easy to clean up, and it's available for a stupid cheap $20 a kilo. That's like cheaper than Micro Center. This blend is slightly less rigid than normal PLA, and that's a good thing. This can withstand twice as strong an impact, but it's no harder to print. I don't see any reason not to consider this for your next daily driver filament. You get to sequester some carbon, plant some trees, get sexier prints, and save a few bucks without a single bit of extra effort on your part. I love laziness. But no production process could ever be as eco-friendly as recycling waste plastic. Case in point, Greengate PETG. A full 20% of worldwide plastic production is polyethylene terephthalate, aka PET or polyester, and that number would be massively higher if PET wasn't also one of the world's most widely recycled materials. Redirecting this plastic from landfill to filament blunts the impact of one of humanity's longest-lasting waste products. But there is a catch. PETG is a flexible copolyester made by reacting PET with ethylene glycol. Not only is PETG almost never recycled, it actually contaminates recycled PET by making it wrinkly and murky, so customers think the product is dirty, they clutch their pearls, and pressure manufacturers into backtracking to crystal clear virgin material. Greengate 3D in New York is one of the very few companies with the connections to source pure scrap PETG. In fact, it is so hard to get a hold of this stuff that Greengate actually resells their pellets to other reprocessors, even a filament manufacturer. Greengate shreds it up, melts it down, filters out contaminants, adds ice-scorchingly vivid colors, and spools it up. This is likely the only pure recycled PETG filament made in America from American scrap. If there's one thing us Americans are good at, it's throwing shit out. The colors are so vibrant, they make my lull spot look like a dull spot, and scrap PETG is in such low demand that this is one of the cheapest all-American filaments, although I consider it to be pretty high quality. It's far easier to print PETG than PET, but you can still make a mean green recycled PET filament if you have the right machine. In fact, you may have some raw material in your hands at this very moment. You are looking at the only known MLG Pro Gamer Benchy made of 100% Mountain Dew bottles. That's right, this boat used to be an ocean-clogging plastic flask of allegedly spermicidal caffeine juice. That was until Josh Taylor and Roman Neskashev ran it through a custom device called the PETBOT. The first stage unzips the bottle into plastic tape, and the second stage heats it, rolls it, and pulls it into a tube-shaped filament that's consistent enough to feed into your printer. If you watched my last episode on the world's most advanced filaments, nudge nudge wink wink, or if you're paying attention to the last 45 seconds of this video, you will know that bottle grade PET is different from PETG. It prints hotter, it's tougher, and it makes more transparent and glossy prints than its glycolized grandchild. Bottle grade PET melts about 30 degrees hotter than PETG, and this stuff is no exception. This boat looks like complete ass because I made it on an Anycubic Viper that could barely reach the temperatures. This boring old Coke boat went great on my water-cooled squirt bris. I really should have cooled it with Coke, that would have been great. You can't buy this filament, but you can buy a kit to make your own PETBOT and manufacture your own. Josh is also working on an improved pultruder that pulls and extrudes, called the Reformer 3D, which simplifies the whole filamentalizing process. The point they've proven is that a single motivated hobbyist can redirect garagefuls of garbage out of the ocean, past the landfill, and into cool projects. They can do it in a way that outperforms off-the-shelf materials, and all with DIY machinery that anyone can get their hands on. Just wash the Doritos dust off first. Port Kerno Blend by Fishy Filament. I really hope I pronounced that right. According to the Ocean Cleanup, a non-profit that's cleaning up the ocean, cast-off fishing nets make up over 46% of the Great Garbage Patch, and these are not your rinky-dink jellyfish catchers. A standard circular net is 450 meters long and 50 meters deep, and every single boat has 2 or more. These only last a few months before they turn white and the fish run away from them. And if you think the gender-agnostic fisher people schlep them back to shore, you have way too much faith in humanity. Fishy Filaments hangs out at docks in Cornwall, England, where they gather up worn-out nets and make them into filament before British Popeye can yeet them. Did you know that a net can still catch sea creatures when the other end is not attached to a boat? These so-called ghost nets drift through the ocean, snaring fish, trapping turtles, strangling dolphins, and dragging them all to the briny depths. This is Bella the dolphin. Brooke and I swam with Bella on our honeymoon. Do you want to let Bella get strangled in an abandoned fishing net? Huh? No gang sign. Even if you're a dolphin-hating, climate-denying meatitarian who rolls coal on high school track meets, you should know that this is a truly excellent filament in its own right. Fishing nets are made of pure PA6 nylon, which resists impacts, abrasion, and heat more effectively than the usual PA12. It's a bit trickier to print, but I think it's worth it. The process of pulling nylon into fishing line, melting it back to pellets, and re-extruding it as filament renders the stuff tougher, more flexible, and more translucent than standard nylon. All this adds up to a gigachad recycled material that can wipe the deck with the virgin stuff. You bet your ass I intended that pun. They're all intended. You smell something? Dude, what if, instead of making plastic indestructible and out of oil, we made it like very destructible and out of not oil? Oh, that would like change the world, dude. You could call it Nonoilen. That name sucks, dude. Does filament have 1 L or 2? Fillamentum Nonoilen. This filament is 100% renewable biopolymers. That means it's made of plants that suck CO2 out of the air, imprisoning it in your dumb inventions. Nonoilen is a mixture of PLA and polyhydroxybutyrate, PHB, that makes it tougher, it lets it handle higher temperatures, it renders your prints both food and dishwasher safe, and Nonoilen composts 3 times more efficiently than conventional PLA. Unlike most polymers, PLA and especially PHB don't release many microplastics or greenhouse gases as they break down. You can actually ship your unwanted prints back to Fillamentum, and they'll shred them up and feed them into the next batch. Even the spool itself is made of recycled polypropylene, and that is one of the most common constituents of the marine refuse pile of unusual size. But Nonoilen isn't just for filthy hippies. This filament melts and sets at low temperatures, which lets you print super aggressive overhangs and bridges. Its consistency, its printability, its purity, and its satin finish may have produced the nicest benchy I have ever made. Not only are Nonoilen's tree-hugging bona fides backed up by smart engineering, they conceal a genuinely impressive and easy-to-use filament. The name is really dumb though. I have absolute confidence that our final filament of the day is the last word in marine-safe printing. After all, plastic can't hurt a fish if it's liquid. I mean, the plastic is liquid, not the fish. That's just gross. PVA. Polyvinyl alcohol is not exactly eco-friendly, but it is fish-friendly because PVA is water-soluble. That's right, as solid as this benchy looks, it's anything but seaworthy. After only a few hours of immersion in warm H2O, there is nothing to be found. PVA is actually a fairly common filament. Multi-material machines use it as dissolvable support for printing PLA. You set up an extremely aggressive print, swapping in PVA to add zero clearance supports everywhere you need them. You soak the finished print in water and the supports go bye-bye, leaving behind impossibly precise overhangs and bridges. Also, I am aware that this is the 6th of our 5 fish-friendly filaments, but 6 doesn't start with the letter F, does it? Read a book. PVA is almost entirely used for support material, but nothing stops you from printing the whole thing in it. That lets you print your disposable tests at the beginning of a project in PVA, dissolve them, and flush them. PVA is biodegradable, although it does take a long time in the presence of a specific bacteria. But it's not particularly toxic, and concentrations as high as 5% have been proven safe for marine life. So if you want to keep your misprinted baby Groots from choking fish in a Mr. Beast video, try some PVA and dissolve the evidence. Just don't use it for anything you want to hang on to, because as it draws moisture from the air, PVA gets all icky and sticky. And not in the good way! So if it's time to restock and you'd prefer to not contribute to a trash pile that's 6% the circumference of the planet, I hope you consider these eco-friendly polymers. I've put links to each of them in the description, along with more info about hashtag Team Seas. They're doing a really good mission, the ocean is full of crap, and I'm a little bit culpable, so I'm pitching in $105 and you either get it or you don't. If you enjoyed the video, check out my channel for dozens more filaments, tons of bizarre projects, far worse puns, and information about what the hell I'm wearing. If you want to get your feet wet in 3D printing, or making in general, you're welcome to join my hardware hacking community at discord.gg/voidstarlab. I would be adrift without my munificent patrons whose generous support is the current that carries our projects. May Poseidon grace our collaborators: Brian D. Swollen Nut, I'm Not Betacor, Jeremy Arnold Schweddy Vag, CMD, Command. Reagan says, read this capture robot, man. And Chuck Fadook Small Dong. I've concealed their names in this episode like the South Pacific Garbage Vortex conceals a non-zero number of Ruth Bader Ginsburg action figures. Can you find them? Either one, to be honest. I put my mailbag link in the description. I am super glad that neither Mr. Beast nor Mark Rober has a Patreon, because if they did, none of the following people would have become our generous lab assistant supporters. Bill Schooler, Talon Democratic Socialist and a pretty righteous dude, Zack. Hackerspace Brussels, HSBXL, Clunge Bob Squirt Pants, Zoster, Ethan Gomez, C. Harris, Tinkerbear, Frantic Fanatic, TKMK, Victor Vaughn, the world's greatest drone pilot, Bot Grinder FPV, Joe Wilkinson, Powerful CCH, 410100, Granville Schmidt, My Dog is a Bear, One Handful of Beans, Epunman, Rusty Flute, Aiden P, BLM and Friends, Philip, Good Suck, YouTube Caption Bot, Suck, with 2 C's. Stop censoring me. Eddie, Arrow Raider, Joe Harp, Varka, Kevin DeGraff, Bob Dobbington, Nathan Johnson, Period Clots, My Yiddish Mama, SA6HAM, Lydia K. Trans Rights, It's 2021 and I still go to My Little Pony conventions, Zosh, Chronom, Sir Derpington of Derptopia, A Blade of Kitten, Duck Acquirer and Distributor of Stickers, Xanforian, SXP, Brad Cox, Azundo, Curb, Guygasm, Protagonist, Nino Gansitano, Acalia, insert dork joke here, The Antifa, Roger Pinkham of the Great Star Theater, Taranak, Michael Roche, Katz, Olivia Yiptong, and I refuse to read this guy's name out loud. In the next installment of my Every Filament series, I'm going to show you over 20 bizarre materials that make the unprintable possible. In the meantime, I wish the best of luck to Mr. Rober, Mark Beast, and all the little fishies, because I'll see you all, hopefully, in the future. Last year, It was 420 for an entire month.